Dear friends, good morning. If this dawn greets you with hard questions and heavy tasks waiting outside your door, pause and breathe. How long has it been since you last prayed? In this moment, allow me to offer a few simple words that bow the heart, yield to God, and whisper a humble yes to His will. Before we begin the prayer, please subscribe to the channel. Your one click becomes a daily encouragement for me to keep showing up, so we can meet each other here and together draw near to God. This morning, before the noise finds you, you choose to keep God first. You let the heart quiet down and remember why prayer never stops, because love never stops. You aren't trying to impress God with perfect words. You are letting your life lean toward Him again. You tell your soul where home island. Scripture points the way, pray without ceasing. 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. Seek first the kingdom, Matthew 6:33. And bring everything, with thanksgiving, into His presence, Philippians 4:6-7. So you begin here. You thank God for breath, for light, for the chance to start over. You surrender what you clutch and open the hands of your heart. You set down hurry, the need to be right, the ache to control outcomes, and you make room for the one who orders your steps. You place your heart before God and ask for a holy alignment. Let love be first in you today, before opinions, before deadlines, before the tug of old fears. You place your mind before God and ask for clean thinking. Let wisdom sift your choices. Let calm rise where anxiety once ruled. You place your plans before God and invite His timing. If He closes a door, you will trust the hand that closes it. If He opens one, you will walk through with courage. You place your family before God and release the ones you love into His care, praying peace over their rooms, strength over their bodies, clarity over their decisions. You place your finances before God and ask for contentment, discipline, and open eyes to generosity. You place your health before God, every ache, every test result, every hidden fatigue, and welcome His healing and His pace. You place your past before God, letting mercy cover what memory cannot fix. You place your future before God, refusing to borrow fear from tomorrow. And you place your will before God, choosing surrender over stubbornness, obedience over impulse, trust over control. Now you ask for a praying heart that keeps returning all day long, not only in set moments, but in the in-between. Let brief prayers bead through your hours like a quiet rosary of trust. A glance heavenward when the inbox overflows. A whispered "be near" when a hard conversation begins. A soft "thank you" when beauty catches you by surprise. A steady "your will" when plans change. Make interruptions your invitations. Turn routine into altar. Let work become worship, and let rest become worship, and let waiting become worship. When worry starts its spin, you will not argue with it. You will hand it to God again. When pride wants the last word, you will yield the sentence to Him. When offense rises, you will choose forgiveness and keep your heart light. When good news arrives, you will run first to God in gratitude before you run anywhere else. Ask for a guarded mouth and a gentle spirit. May your words be slow, truthful, and kind. May you be quick to listen and slow to anger. Pray for a discerning eye that sees where love is needed and a steady hand that offers help without fanfare. Bless the ones who bless you and bless the ones who bruise you, so your heart stays free. Pray courage over your calling and humility over your gifts. Pray focus over your tasks and holy detachment from the outcomes you cannot manage. Pray protection at the thresholds you cross today, home to street, street to work, work to conversation, conversation to silence, so that peace accompanies you like a faithful friend. You also intercede. You lift the tired, the grieving, the unseen. You remember the lonely at breakfast tables, the sick waiting in clinics, the workers on night shift ending as your day begins. You ask God to visit them with the same tenderness you're asking for yourself. You bless your city. Let justice roll. Let kindness multiply. Let hope find the ones who have lost their map. You bless the church and ask for unity, holiness, and a clear witness. You bless those who lead and those who serve in hidden places. And you bless your enemies, releasing them from your courtroom and entrusting them to God's wise mercy. So your heart stays light enough to love. Now you make holy promises, not to earn God's favor, but to keep your soul pointed in the right direction. Today, you will begin with God and return to Him often. You will let Scripture be the first voice and the loudest voice. You will weave gratitude through small moments. You will choose reconciliation quickly. You will pause before you post, breathe before you speak, pray before you decide. You will celebrate what is good, name what is hard, and invite God into both. You will remember that failure is not final, and success is not the point, Faithfulness Island. You will practice presence, fully with the person in front of you, fully with the task at hand, fully attentive to God in the ordinary. Let this be your confession of trust. God first in your heart, God first in your schedule, God first in your motives. If storms gather, you will not be shaken out of prayer. You will be driven deeper into it. If joy surprises you, you will not forget the giver. You will anchor your gladness in Him. If silence stretches and answers delay, you will not mistake delay for absence. You will wait with a lamp trimmed and a hope alive. Your life becomes a long conversation with words, and without words braided through the day and through the years, a companionship that carries you when your strength is small and sings in you when your strength returns. So you rise from this, prayer not to leave God behind, but to carry Him at the center. You step into morning with a quiet certainty that you are held. You keep God first by returning, again and again, to the one who first loved you. And as you go, let a simple refrain steady your steps. Seek first, trust always, pray continually. Matthew 6:33, 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18, Philippians 4:6-7. Amen. And as the day unfolds, you learn the art of returning, not with dramatic gestures, but with small, steady turns of the heart. You let ordinary moments become thresholds, the quiet before you open your messages, the pause as the kettle warms, the stillness at a red light, the hush right after a door clicks shut. In each space, you remember who is first. You lift the task in front of you into the light and ask that it be shaped by love. You meet a difficult face and choose to see a child of God before you see a problem to solve. You feel a wave of worry rise and, rather than surf the worst-case stories, you set that wave into God's hands and let peace carry you to shore. Prayer without ceasing looks like this: many small returns, many gentle alignments, many yeses braided through an ordinary day until the ordinary begins to shine. You also learn how to rest inside prayer, not perform it. When fatigue hums beneath your ribs, you let silence say what your words can't. When concentration slips, you don't scold yourself. You start again, like a friend who pulls up a chair and smiles, unhurried. unembarrassed. You let gratitude guide your attention to what is already good. The window's square of light, the kindness of a colleague, the strength to take the next step. Gratitude keeps your heart supple. It keeps you aware that all is gift and the giver is near. Even the hard things can be carried differently when you name them in the presence of God. Disappointment becomes a place to be met, not a verdict on your worth. Delay becomes an invitation to trust, not a punishment. Weakness becomes a doorway to grace, not a reason to hide. Keeping God first also reorders how you speak to yourself. You choose gentleness over sarcasm, truth over self-accusation, hope over fatalism. You stop narrating your life as if you are alone. You learn to say, "I am accompanied," and you act like it. That shift changes the room when you enter it. It changes the tone of your emails. It softens your face when someone needs patience more than precision. Prayer becomes a way of seeing every person a mystery, every moment a crossroads, every decision a chance to echo heaven's priorities. You start to notice how often you were moved by urgency that wasn't yours to carry. You set down what belongs to God and pick up only what is yours. To love well, to tell the truth, to do the next faithful thing. When mistakes happen, you keep the channel open. You confess quickly, not to wallow but to heal. You let mercy wash the grit from the gears so your soul doesn't grind and overheat. You repair what you can and release what you cannot, trusting that nothing surrendered is wasted. Forgiveness given and received keeps the heart light enough to keep praying. Resentment makes a heavy anchor. Release cuts the rope. You remember that ceaseless prayer is not ceaseless pressure. It is a steady companionship that frees you from pretending and frees you for loving. It is not another box on your list. It is the breath in your list, the music in your tasks, the presence that makes even routine radiant. As you work, you invite God to shape your craft, clear mind for the complex, integrity for the small, unseen choices, humility when praise comes, resilience when it doesn't. You offer your deadlines and ask for holy pacing so you don't outrun grace or lag behind it. You ask for a listening spirit in meetings, for courage when truth is costly, for tenderness where a quick win would wound someone's heart. You bring your body into prayer too. A calmer posture at your desk, a slower sip of water, a walk that unclenches the jaw and opens the senses to quiet gifts hidden in plain sight. You let the created world tutor you in trust, the patience of trees, the honesty of light, the mercy of morning that returns whether you earned it or not. You keep an eye on thresholds, the moments that often steal peace, the late-night scroll that fogs your morning, the anxious replay of a conversation, the habit of doom forecasting when plans shift. At those doorways, you practice a simple turning. Name what's true, ask for what you need, do the next right thing. You begin to bless more than you critique. You bless the inbox before you open it. You bless the room before you speak. You bless the path before you walk, asking that every step carry the weight of love. Blessing keeps your attention aligned with God's heart. It trains your eyes to find where grace wants to land. You remember others too, because prayer that keeps God first refuses to end with you. You carry the names that surface: the friend who hides their sadness behind jokes, the neighbor with the drawn face, the child whose silence says more than words. You picture light at their table, steadiness in their pulse, help at their door. You ask for comfort for the grieving, and clarity for the confused, for breakthrough for the stuck, and rest for the overused. You ask that your presence today would be an answer to someone else's prayer, a timely message, a patient look, a practical help that costs you little but means the world to them. In this way, your day becomes an altar built from small obediences, and every stone is holy. When temptations tug impatience, comparison, the thrill of being right, you do not pretend you aren't human. You bring the tug into the light where it loses some of its pull. You choose to be taught by the moment rather than trapped by it. You ask for a cleaner motive, a kinder word, a wiser boundary. You remind yourself that guarding your heart is not about building walls. It is about letting God set the gates and hold the keys. You don't measure success by applause or ease. You measure it by faithfulness. Did you love? Did you stay true? Did you return to God when you drifted? If yes, then even a hard day can be a holy day. By evening, you can look back and trace a thread, small prayers like lights along a path, reminders that you were never walking alone. Some prayers were answered in real time. Some were answered by the strength to wait well. Some are still unfolding in ways you cannot see. You lay the unfinished in God's hands without panic, because keeping Him first means trusting His timing as much as His power. You close the night the way you opened the morning, with a simple turning of the heart. You thank God for what was good, you entrust what was hard, and you ask for deeper love tomorrow. Then you rest, not because everything is done, but because someone faithful is holding what you cannot hold. And when morning comes again, you will not start from zero. You will start from relationship. You will remember that prayer, without ceasing, is not a marathon of words. It is a life that leans, a heart that orients again and again toward the one who already moved first toward you. Keeping God first is how you stay whole in a fractured world, how you carry peace into rooms that forgot it was possible, how you become a quiet signpost pointing beyond yourself to the love that does not fail. This is how you live today, not rushed, not scattered, not alone but rooted, aware, surrendered, and steadily turned toward God in everything. Some mornings ask for courage before coffee. You sense the pull to rush, to prove, to keep score, and you remember what you chose at dawn. God first, everything else in its place. Prayer becomes the way you carry that choice into motion. You walk through the house with a quieter pace, treating each threshold like a small sanctuary desk, doorway, screen, street, letting the presence of God be the atmosphere you move in. A gentle sentence returns to you when the pace accelerates. Keep the center, keep the center. It steadies your hands and clears your eyes so you see people rather than projects, souls rather than obstacles, need rather than noise. The day still asks a lot, but it no longer owns you. You belong to God. Unexpected frictions arrive: a sharp email, an unfair comment, a plan undone by someone else's timetable. Prayer without ceasing becomes your response time. You slow the story you're telling yourself and invite a truer one to lead. Instead of rehearsing comebacks, you let kindness hold the mic. Instead of spinning worst-case futures, you place outcomes where they always belonged. The heart unclenches. You choose words that heal rather than win. You remember that influence without love is just noise, and love without prayer forgets its source. Because you kept God first in secret, you can keep love first in public. That is how prayer turns to practice. Creative work asks for a different kind of prayer: clear mind, open imagination, honest craft. You ask for the grace to serve the work rather than use it to prop up your worth. You welcome feedback without folding, and you release perfectionism without becoming careless. Detail by detail, you offer the small faithfulness that excellence requires. When inspiration fades, you do not panic. You stay at your post and let diligence light the next foot of path. The pressure lowers when you remember who holds the bigger picture. Ceaseless prayer here looks like steady attention, like gratitude for each small breakthrough, like humility when credit comes, and resilience when it doesn't. Relationships knit the hours together, and prayer turns those stitches into something strong. You listen past your assumptions. You ask a second question. You give others room to be in process, because you are too. Old triggers lose volume when brought into God's presence. They no longer dictate the script. Where offense once took root, forgiveness grows sooner, lighter, freer. You bless people in silence before you speak to them aloud. You turn irritation into intercession and gossip into gratitude. The room changes when peace enters first, and peace enters first when you let God have the first word in you. Digital life tries to claim the first word. Headlines crowd the margins of your joy. Feeds provoke comparison, outrage, exhaustion. Keeping God first means you curate your attention like a steward of scarce treasure. You choose windows that open to light and close ones that fog the soul. Before you open an app, you open your heart. Before you scroll, you recall whose voice grounds you. If you stumble into the quicksand of doom forecasting, prayer reaches a hand you can take. Name what is true. Ask for the next faithful step. Bless what you cannot control. Peace returns, not as denial, but as anchoring, I have set the Lord always before me. Psalm 16:8. Midday often brings a valley. Energy dips, focus thins, edges fray. Rather than fight it with frantic effort or numb it with distraction, you let prayer reset the room inside. A few quiet breaths, a simple thank you, a short surrender of the next task into God's keeping. You choose one clear action and do it with a whole heart. You drink water like it's grace. You step outside for a sliver of sky. Small obediences, repeated, restore more than they cost. The afternoon becomes less about finishing everything and more about being faithful with what you hold. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts becomes a practical rhythm, not a slogan. Colossians 3:15. Intercession keeps your prayer from curling inward. Names drift up: the friend in treatment, the colleague in quiet grief, the student carrying invisible weight, the nurse driving home at sunrise, the parents aching for a door to open. You picture their faces in God's light and speak blessing over them. Strength for bones, steadiness for breath, companionship in lonely rooms. You pray for the ones who lead and the ones who serve, the ones on main stages and the ones who clean those stages in the dark. You ask that your day would host answers to prayers you will never hear about: timely patience, an extra 5 minutes, a word withheld, a kindness offered. Your life becomes a conduit rather than a container. Temptations do not vanish, they simply meet more light. When comparison whispers, you answer with your assignment. When cynicism winks, you guard wonder as a holy trust. When despair drafts a script, you refuse the role and return to hope's grammar. You do not deny the weight of the world. You carry it to the one strong enough to hold it and wise enough to guide you through it. Boundaries become acts of worship rather than acts of fear. Rest becomes obedience rather than laziness. Saying no where you must allows your deeper yes to keep beating in time with God. Evening traces the arc of the day. You notice where love led and where ego nudged, where prayer opened a window and where hurry shut a door. The review is gentle, not punitive. Gratitude gathers. Ordinary mercies, unplanned laughter, help that arrived right on time. What remains unfinished is placed, not dropped, not clutched into hands that do not sleep. Ceaseless prayer becomes quiet trust. the kind that loosens the jaw and softens the breath. You rest because the world does not hinge on your vigilance. It rests because God is faithful. Tomorrow's uncertainties do not own you. Promise does. The practice deepens over weeks. The reflex to run everything alone loses its hold. The reflex to turn toward God in the smallest moments strengthens like a muscle. If storms come, you find that prayer has built you a house with deeper footings. If doors open, you find you are free enough to walk through them without worshiping them. If answers delay, you wait without confusing delay for neglect. Keeping God first does not shrink your world. It clarifies it. The clutter thins, the center holds, the purpose sings. You become a person others can lean on because you are leaning, always, on the one who does not move. So the morning you will wake to tomorrow is already different. You will not start from emptiness. You will start from relationship. The line that guided you today will guide you again. Seek first, trust always, pray continually. Matthew 6:33, 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. And as you move through rooms and roads and responsibilities, you will carry a quiet, knowing God at the center, love at the edges, peace along the seams until even the ordinary begins to look like worship. Pressure has a way of crowding your vision. Instead of sprinting to fix everything, you let prayer widen the frame. Step back a foot in your soul and notice the contours of the moment. What is yours to do, what is not, where love is asking for a simple yes. That small interior pause keeps God first without fanfare. It breaks the spell of urgency so you can move with clarity rather than compulsion, with purpose rather than panic. In that reclaimed space, anger cools, fear loosens, and the next faithful action becomes visible. Conflict will test the center you chose at dawn. A tone of voice, a careless remark, a misunderstanding that wants to snowball. Instead of arming yourself, you disarm the moment with presence. Keep your posture open, your words slower, your listening deeper. Ask for the grace to see the other person's weight, not just your wound. Prayer here is not a speech. It is a steady interior consent to love's way firm where truth is needed, soft where tenderness heals, quiet where silence says more than noise. You leave the exchange lighter because you refused to make ego the main character. Creative problems and complex tasks ask for a different rhythm. Rather than forcing outcomes, you apprentice yourself to patience. Work in front of you becomes a prayer offered piece by piece. One clear sentence, one honest email, one careful spreadsheet, one courageous decision. Excellence stops being a performance and becomes fidelity. Where inspiration thins, diligence takes the handoff. Where frustration spikes, gratitude lowers the temperature. You learn to mark progress not only by what gets finished, but by how faithfully you stayed aligned while doing it. Digital storms try to steal your attention, the urgent headline, the comparison trap, the performative outrage. You refuse to surrender the first place in your heart to a feed that knows nothing of your soul. Before opening the screen, you open your spirit. Ask, even in a sentence, for clean sight and wise consumption. Scroll less. Look longer at what is real. If you get swept into the undertow, you don't shame yourself. You return. Name it. Reset. Keeping God first looks like custody of your eyes and mercy for your mind. Mid-afternoon can fray the edges, sugar lows, decision fatigue, mounting demands. A miniature Sabbath restores the center. 2 unhurried breaths, a whispered thanks for help already given, a simple entrustment of the next hour. Drink water, stretch the shoulders, step toward fresh air if you can. These tiny obediences are not self-help tricks. They are ways of honoring the life you've been given and the giver who sustains it. You become more humane to others because you are learning to be humane to yourself. Intercession keeps love from shrinking to the size of your own needs. Names surface while you wash a cup or wait for a download. The neighbor navigating treatment, the coworker masking loneliness, the single parent counting quiet costs. Picture them in the light of God and let blessing rise. Steadiness for breath, provision where the gap yawns, companionship that meets them right where the ache is loudest. Your prayers reach rooms your feet may never enter, and that mystery increases your reverence for how God moves through ordinary willing hearts. Temptations to hurry, to control, to dramatize will circle back. You answer with practices that have become yours. A gentler pace when tension shouts, a boundary spoken without apology, a decision anchored in values rather than vibes. Joy is guarded by humility. Peace is guarded by truth. Hope is guarded by surrender. Each time you return to God within the moment, you are quietly training your nervous system to trust again. Over time, the return becomes quicker, the detours shorter, the recovery kinder. Growth seldom announces itself. Yet, weeks into this practice, you realize reactions have softened, attention has sharpened, and love is quicker on the draw. The line running through your hours, seek first, trust always, pray continually, has become a kind of interior music. It steadies your gait across uneven ground and holds your heart when answers delay. Keeping God first has not made life smaller, it has made life truer. And from that truer place, you keep returning, one ordinary moment at a time, until the whole day hums with quiet worship. Crowded days can make you feel scattered. Instead of trying to control every moving piece, you slow down inside. You take one quiet breath and turn your heart toward God. You say a simple yes in your spirit. That yes becomes a small anchor. It reminds you who is first and why prayer keeps going even when your hands are busy. With that yes, you step into the day with a steadier pace. Gratitude is a good start. You name a few gifts you can see right now. Light at the window, strength in your body, a message from someone who cares. You also name what weighs you down: deadlines, decisions, the tightness in your chest when you think about money or health or a conversation you dread. You don't hide any of it. You place it before God in plain words and trust that He understands even the parts you cannot say well. Prayer does not need fancy language. It needs an open heart. Relationships shape the day, so you let prayer shape your approach. Before you enter a room, you bless it. Before you answer a message, you pause for a heartbeat and ask for kindness and clarity. If a misunderstanding shows up, you keep your voice calm and your ears open. You look for what is true, not just what is loud. You choose mercy faster than you used to. You forgive quicker. You ask for forgiveness when needed. These quiet choices keep God at the center and keep your heart light. Work invites another kind of faithfulness. You focus on one task and do it well. If your mind jumps, you bring it back without scolding yourself. If problems stack up, you take them one by one. You ask for wisdom for what is unclear, patience for what is slow, and courage for what is costly. You let excellence be love in action rather than pressure on your back. When a small breakthrough comes, you whisper thanks. When nothing moves, you stay steady and trust the timing you cannot see. Noise from the world will try to pull you off center. Headlines, opinions, and endless scrolling can drain the soul before you notice. Keeping God first means guarding your attention. You choose what you look at and how long you look. You give more weight to truth than to trends. If you slip into the storm, you don't shame yourself. You return. A simple prayer resets the room inside. Here I am. Lead me. That turn is enough to begin again. Hard emotions come and go. When fear spikes, you do not pretend to be strong. You place the fear where strength lives. When sadness sits with you, you do not rush it away. You welcome comfort and let tears be a small prayer too. When anger burns, you cool it with honest words and clean boundaries. Prayer without ceasing is not constant talking. It is steady turning. It is remembering, in real time, that you are not alone and you do not have to carry this by yourself. Choices fill the hours: how you speak, where you look, what you say yes to, what you release. You let God's heart set the order. Love before winning, people before plans, integrity before image, peace before speed. You do not have to be perfect to live this way. You only need to keep returning when you drift. Every return strengthens the path. Over time, it becomes the way you move quieter inside, clearer about what matters, braver in small steps. Others need the strength you are receiving, so you share it. While making coffee or walking to the next thing, you lift names to God. The friend between jobs, the nurse ending a long shift, the student far from home, the neighbor who smiles but looks tired around the eyes. You picture light at their table and help at their door. You ask for guidance for leaders and unity for communities. You bless people you may never meet. Prayer travels where you cannot. Joy deserves a place too. You let yourself notice beauty, clean air after rain, laughter in the hallway, a song that lands at the right moment. You celebrate small wins without needing to post them. You let grateful words out of your mouth so they can shape the room. When good news arrives, you run first to God in thanks. When plans change, you remind your heart that a closed door can still be care, and an open door is not your identity. This keeps you free. By late afternoon, energy dips and edges fray. Instead of pushing harder, you pause for a minute. Stretch, sip water, step outside if possible. Offer the next hour to God and take the next clear step. These simple resets are not tricks, they are trust. They say with your body what your heart believes. Grace is given for the step you are on, not for every step at once. Pressure eases, focus returns. Peace has room to breathe. If temptation shows up, pride, comparison, the thrill of being right, you bring it into the light. You ask for a cleaner motive and a kinder tone. You choose truth over drama and boundaries over people-pleasing. You say no where you must so your deeper yes can stand. You remember that success without love is empty, and love without God runs out. Keeping God first protects both your joy and your judgment. Service turns prayer into something you can touch. Hold the door, share the credit, send the note you've delayed. Offer help that costs you a little time. These acts rarely go viral, but they change the air. They soften your heart and make room for someone else to breathe. When you live this way, your day becomes a quiet stream of blessings that no one sees all at once, but God sees every drop. Night gathers and invites a simple review. You look back without harshness. Where did peace lead? Where did hurry push? Where did you return to God quickly? Where do you still need help? You thank God for what was good. You place the rest into His hands. You do not fall asleep holding the world. You rest in the one who holds you. That rest is also prayer. It says, I trust you more than I trust my worry. Weeks of this rhythm begin to show fruit. You react less and respond more. Your words carry less heat and more light. Your work feels cleaner inside. Your home feels kinder. Your attention belongs to what matters, not to whatever shouts the loudest. The center holds. You keep God first, not by force, but by friendship. Steady, daily, honest. Prayer becomes the way your life stays aligned, the way love keeps moving through you, the way peace returns again and again. Morning will come, and you will not start from emptiness. You will start from a relationship already in motion. You know the refrain by heart now, and it fits in a single breath. Seek first. Trust always. Pray continually. Let that line carry you across the thresholds of the new day. Keep the center. Keep God first. And let the ordinary become worship as you go. Before you step into the rest of your day, take one quiet breath and keep the center. God first. Love at the edges. Peace along the seams. Let this simple rhythm follow you into every room. Seek first. Trust always. Pray continually. You are not walking alone. If this blessed you, subscribe so we can meet here again and grow in prayer together. Share this with someone who needs steady peace today. And drop a note below, write, "I keep God first today," or simply "Amen," so this prayer continues in community. Until next time, may courage be in your steps and calm in your chest. And may the nearness of God steady every hour. See you in the next prayer.